We continue with our Discernment of Spirits Mondays, and we've begun to talk about the 14 rules that kind of make up the Discernment of Spirits. We began to talk about Rule 1, which, if we were to give it a title, would be when a person moves away from God. Right? Because there can be two fundamental directions in a person. They're moving towards God, trying to follow Him, even though they do it imperfectly, or they're moving just away from Him. They're not trying to follow Him, and they just are keeping going in that direction, right? So this rule applies to those who are moving away from God, right? That's their fundamental direction in life. And then when a person is doing that, right, there's the good spirit and the bad spirit, and the bad spirit is going to act in a certain way towards this person, and the good spirit in a different way. So we kind of said how the bad spirit is going to engage the imagination of this person and present apparent goods with the purpose of keeping them in this direction and actually pushing them further into this fundamental direction away from God. So that's kind of what we talked about last time. And so now we're going to talk about what does a good spirit do in a person that's, again, moving away from God. So this is what the rule says. In these persons, the good spirit uses a contrary method, stinging and biting their consciences through their rational power of moral judgment. So in these persons, the good spirit uses a contrary method to the one that the good spirit uses, stinging and biting their consciences, using kind of also the rational power. So basically, what the good spirit wants to do is change the fundamental direction of this person, right? They're moving away from God. The good spirit wants to change that, and so it's going to bite their conscience and use their reason, or try to tap into the reason to make them see how this is not good for them. And so usually the good spirit is going to take away any sense of profound peace, right? And also it's going to suggest questions through the reason as such, right? Is this the life I want to be living? Is there more to life? Will I be happy, 20 years from now if I continue to live in the way that I'm living? Why am I not deeply satisfied? Is there something more to life, right? Why am I far away from God, or just I am far away from God? This sort of thing, stinging, biting their conscience, and kind of also through reasoning, so that it helps a person realize that this is not a good direction they're moving, and they begin to change their fundamental direction in life and begin to move towards God. So this is kind of the gist of Rule 1, and kind of how the good spirit and the bad spirit works when a person is moving away from God. Just two more things to add regarding this rule. The first is that this rule is very descriptive, like it doesn't give you any action. Like we've said before, discernment of spirits is about becoming aware of what's going on in our heart, understanding what's going on, and then taking action. The first 4 rules, like this one, the first one, they don't really talk about action, so they're more descriptive. Then from the 5th rule onward, they're much more action-oriented. So just kind of to note that the next 3 rules we'll cover are not very action-oriented yet. They're just about becoming aware and understanding. And then the last thing to say is just kind of the Rule 1 begins to kind of just bring to the forefront the reality of spiritual resistance. And so perhaps sometimes we can be surprised, I'm trying to grow spiritually and I'm finding resistance, this is hard. And so if we are not aware or know that we are to expect resistance, it can catch us off guard, and then it makes it harder to grow because we're like, I didn't think this would be hard or there would be any resistance. But we ought to expect resistance. This is just part of the spiritual life. And so once we come to expect it, then we're like, okay, well, this is normal, that this is difficult, that I'm encountering resistance. I just need to fight and persevere, kind of thing. So this is kind of the gist of Rule 1 and a few other things. And next Monday we'll pick up with Rule 2.